What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be spectating random players in Fortnite Zero builds, going over what I think they do well, what they could do differently, and just the state of the game right now. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and comment down below what you think of Fortnite's new Spider-Man update. Unfortunately, the main content from the Spider-Man update, the Spider-Man web shooters, is not currently in the loot pool. It was added yesterday after the update and then vaulted a few hours after, and I believe it's supposed to be added to the regular loot pool tomorrow after the power hour, but I could be wrong on that. Fortnite is a confusing game sometimes. I'm trying to land on this island here, hoping to spectate somebody that goes for the mythic poison ivy pistol. This is a bot. But the mythic pistol is really good, and typically there will be a solid amount of players landing here trying to get it off spawn. But maybe not this game. We will see. Somebody rifted right away, which would indicate that they thought they were probably under pressure. Can I please find somebody to eliminate me? Alright, I was going to say, maybe if I just start shooting, somebody will run in thinking they're third-partying something. But this is where the mythic Ranger pistol is, like I said, and it is, if you've been playing ever since it was added, it's incredibly good. It has a faster fire rate when aimed in, while also being just one of the best weapons in the game. It did recently get a 1 damage nerf, but it's still probably the best weapon. And so if I was going to land here, I would want to land at one of these houses, loot up a bit, and then clear the area and then go for it. It looks like somebody might be fighting her here. Maybe. Someone shockwaved away, and then there's somebody already down here. But like the chaos of this area, I feel like often means that if you land directly on her and try to duel her right away, you'll just end up getting third-partied. That fight's kind of going there. I'm worried that one of them is just going to give up the fight and then try to come back for the boss if they get too far away. But maybe now would be a good time to go for it. He can eliminate this boss really quick. Okay, that fight happened. And so... Okay, I was going to say maybe he's going to wait for this person to try to talk to the boss, or he's going to wait for them to go for the loot pile. They get the loot. Yeah, okay. I feel like he waited too long to shoot and then shot anyways. I feel like if he shot a little bit earlier, it would have been good for him, but he waited till like way too late to shoot and then started shooting anyways and gave up his, like, you know, eliminate prize. That's a bot down there shooting. I think you let this go and you just fight the boss. You fight the boss now. No, what are you doing? I'm very annoyed with this. Maybe he doesn't want the mythic pistol, but he's using the pistol anyways, and you would think like he landed here, he wants the mythic one. I don't like this chase. Maybe it works out, but this is just like kind of flippy. And okay, he gets the kill. This person was like out of the play is what I was gonna say. You made this guy go far enough away that I think you could have had enough alone time to eliminate the boss, because those bosses that you get the Batman mythics from, they don't have that much health. You can kill them pretty quickly. And so I think he could have started to duel her and then like maybe use that to bait the player in, or just, you know, rush the boss down. I think he had bought enough alone time to fight the boss, but, you know, he wins the fight. It works out. Now the area is going to be clear. What would be bad for him is if the boss is just already gone by the time he gets here, or if somebody else comes, because, like, you have to worry about the players in the immediate area for sure, but you also have to worry about players coming from elsewhere because the pistol is so good. And the longer you take to, you know, clear this area and eliminate the boss, the more likely it is you run into somebody coming from, like, the mid-map area with the shock rocks who has, like, all the mobility in the world. That's a bot, I'm pretty sure, in the water. But it worked out. The fight versus that clown, I think, definitely could have not gone his way, though. And then he probably would have wished that... Like, you see how quickly he killed her there? Like, I think he definitely could have killed her and then, like, looked back this way for the clown to, like, push up to him. Interested to see what he does now. Oh, he has a key, so he's going to open the room here. And that's going to be really good for him. Not only is there a sprite chest, but also... 2 rare chests, which maybe give him some mobility, which would be really nice because he's lacking mobility right now. No mobility, unfortunately. He does get he has the air sprite, though. He has these boots. I would want to buy a chug jug from the vending machines that are there. I think like the minis are really not that great for zero build. And then now if I was this player, I would be making my way towards the middle of the map, because as we just touched on, his main kind of problem at the moment is lack of mobility. And the shock rocks, I think at this point in time, if he got there, there'd hopefully still be some players there. Is the boots, though, which, you know, some people would say like that solves his mobility problem, but I feel like for how fights play out and the type of mobility you want in a fight, the boots do not cut it. He seems to think that there's somebody over here, though. I don't know if, like, the extract had just happened or what. And then that's maybe why he came over here. He seems very, like, suspicious of this area. And he has the air sprite, and he's just constantly running around with his pickaxe out because the air sprite gives you a faster sprint speed. And then in zero build, having your pickaxe out gives you unlimited stamina. So running around with your pickaxe out, if you have the air sprite, works really well. And you also take no fall damage when you have the air sprite, so he can just drop free fall right onto this guy. No problem. He doesn't even have to worry about getting his glider again if he didn't want to. Like, I think he did it there mainly just for positioning, but the air sprite completely negates fall damage. And so you can go for a lot of surprise plays like that. And then also in the early game landing, you can, like, drop from your glider really high up and get a, like, timing advantage in the early game. Then you also get a better, like, sprint jump with the air sprite. Then he has the extending focus shotgun, which can capitalize on the range you create with that better sprint jump really well. The air sprite is incredibly good. I personally don't use it, but I think it's one of those things that if you use this every game and you have good muscle memory for, like, the sprint jumps and everything, you're going to outplay a lot of people. You make the fight kind of weird for them. Every fight you go into, you're used to it because you're the one using the air sprite, whereas them, you're potentially just catching them off guard with the fact that you have, like, a really good sprint jump. Now he's in Shock Rock territory. I'm interested to see if he takes them instead of the boots. Because I definitely would want to, especially having the air sprite. Like, the main benefit the boots have is just traveling around the map, right? Quicker, right? But since you have the air sprite pickaxe, you basically get around the map just as quick, and you're making way less audio. And you don't have to worry about it overheating or anything like that. So I think replacing the boots with shock rocks would be ideal. He's going to hear Chug Jug. Nice. They did recently increase the price of the Chug Jug from 750 to 1,000, which I feel like is pretty insignificant. Like, maybe it'll affect you sometimes off spawn, but for the most part, it's not that big of a deal. Somebody on him. An AI, though. One thing the boots do provide that the air sprite doesn't is obviously the better accuracy when sliding. If you aim down sights while sliding with the boots, you get really good accuracy. And, you know, that can be helpful, but I feel like that would be maybe more into play if you were using something like the Mythic Warforged AR, which kind of does have an accuracy problem for how fast it shoots. The Ranger pistol is so accurate all the time that I feel like the boots... The fact that the boots makes it even more accurate isn't, like, as big of a deal. Like, it's nice, but... Gets damage on this guy, takes a bit back, but this is, like, kind of a nothing fight at the moment. Like, neither player is really weak. One thing you can do with the Batmobile is if you get in the passenger seat, you can actually, like, gun the driver from the passenger seat really easily. I do not like this fight for him. So he used all his shock rock charges. That player is in a bush. You don't want to be repetitively peeking into a bush like this. Okay, he's going to push it. It's risky to push a bush, but I think that's better than just repetitively peeking it. I think he hit the no-scope with the pistol. The bank shot pistol, I think he hip-fired him and hit it. I think that is better, though. So, like I was trying to say, if you're peeking a bush mid-range, the person in the bush has a huge advantage on you because, like, you can't really see them, and they can see you perfectly fine. Like, he had a tree as cover, but every time he was peeking, he was really exposed. He decides to just push the bush player, which is kind of risky, but I think it's better than just repetitively peeking into the bush. And I think a lot of players would just repetitively peek into the bush. But I think you need to either do what he did there or just leave. But trying to have the mid-range fight versus the bush player is not great. Unless, like, there's times where, like, a pixel or something of the character will be showing and then you know where they are from that. But it didn't seem like that's what was happening there. This prison doesn't seem to be open, but he seems... Okay, he probably heard them. I was gonna say, he seems to think there's somebody here. This is, like, not... Okay. I don't like fighting in these areas, though. Fighting in these, like, congested, close-range fight areas make the fights, like, pretty random, I think. He gets that initial kill, but even that initial kill, I feel like, could have kind of gone either way. Like, that player with the Maven could have just beamed him. And then, sticking around in this area for a little too long, he gets shot in the back and almost dies. And then now his shotgun isn't loaded, and he's still in this weird area. If he had shock rocks, he could have, like, spam jumped out, but he doesn't have any extra shock rocks. Luckily, his pocket shockwave is ready to go, but this enemy is going to continue to chase him, and I feel like this is going to be the end of the game for him. The boots aren't going to create enough separation versus this player who has shock rocks. That's like one of the weird things about the boots. Like it's a traveling mobility, but if you're trying to like run away from a fight or get out of a bad situation, the shockwave is gonna outpace it. The overdrives are gonna outpace it. Shock rocks, like it's not a good mobility item for urgent moments, which is kind of what I care about most. But that's unfortunate timing. I think the player that we were spectating initially was, you know, really good and maybe better than this person we're spectating now, but just forcing the fight in the underground area eventually resulted in him getting third partied, which like it's very hindsight. You can't know that, but I just try to avoid those areas. Even if he didn't get third partied, the first fight versus a Maven player could have kind of gone either way. And if you are a good player, just avoiding those areas that are kind of flippy is going to help you a lot, because if the fight isn't really just like weird and random, you're probably going to win it. Now this player has a mythic pistol. They also have the pump. I think the extended focus is the best shotgun for zero build this season, but it's not like the pump is just horrendous. The pump is just inconvenient to use sometimes. But when you hit a good shot, like you can end a fight really quick. It's like higher ceiling, you know, lower floor. But like and that's kind of always the case with pump shotguns compared to auto spammy shotguns. But the extended focus, I feel like also has like a high enough floor and a high enough ceiling to like be something that I actually want to use. I'm interested that he doesn't have rocks on his character. I feel like if you have them in your inventory and then a bad moment happens and you have to like actually like activate it, that little bit of timing could just like be what actually gets you eliminated. And so I just like to use them if I have them. Like I always want to have the 3 rocks on my character, but maybe he's saving it because he wants to like glide or redeploy around in this area. I'm not too sure. We'll see if it comes back to bite him. As always in Fortnite, a lot of like potential mistakes are just like what ifs, and the more kind of like what if bad situations you expose yourself to, you know, the more likely it is that one of them comes back to bite you. Quack's next to level up his sprite. I can get more siphon per elim. Not the greatest sprite. Someone just got eliminated and they dropped a crown, and so after seeing that in the kill feed, you can look at the map and just see like the crown is there or on the compass. And I think he knows that this crown is here, and that's why he's going there. Also with the crash pads, I recently made a video about this, but I actually quite like the crash pads as a pocket item because it's good for just like useless traveling mobility. And they recharge pretty quickly and you get 2 of them. So that crown got him killed. The fact that the player he eliminated dropped a crown and it put his location on the map like that is why this person came over here, and then he got timing such that like he was able to get the elimination. The crash pads making no audio or being really quiet maybe also came into play here. If he was shockwaving to that area, then maybe the Spider-Man would have heard him and then, you know, been more prepared. That is why if you eliminate a crown player, you want to pick it up ASAP or just like get out of the area. Especially in the late game like this, a lot of people are going to be aware of that. Now there's 4 players remaining. I think he's just continuing to bait this crown, hoping that somebody else pulls up. Unfortunately, he gets timinged. Now he has to use a shock rock, which maybe it doesn't matter in this situation. But you see that that little bit of timing could have cost him if this player was like closer, like more ready, able to like, you know, capitalize on the damage they did. But unfortunately for them, they weren't able to, and so he gets away. Or if he got caught off guard in like a close range, like awkward situation, not having the rocks on already, I think could be a problem as well. The person is like right there. They're like trying to right shoulder peek that, but they're kind of showing. And it's like kind of, it'd be hard to shoot that, but I'm pretty sure he saw them and knows they're there. Unfortunately misses a shot, and that's kind of the ceiling and floor of the bank shot pistol. If you hit the shot, you kill really quick, like we saw earlier in that bush fight. Don't hit the shot, you get nothing. And in a situation where if he was using the regular ranger pistol, he surely gets some amount of damage there. I would kind of want to just get out of here if I was him, but like trying to leave this is kind of weird too. Without a pocket shockwave, this would be like one of the situations where the pocket crash pad is kind of grief. He gets away though. I feel like that fight was like kind of weird and awkward, and he hadn't really gotten enough damage on that player to want to continue it. That's how I would feel. If I got good damage on that person, then maybe I would want to stick around in that weird fight. But the fact that none of us had really done anything to each other, I'd rather just get out of there. Again, he doesn't have the rocks active. We'll see if it costs him, but whether you have it in, like, I don't know what the benefit of having 2 in your inventory is. Now he uses it. Because they don't go away once they're on your character unless you use them. So, like there's a timing or anything like that to worry about. 1v1v1 now. The person that was shooting at him from over here with the Chaos Exploder was an AI, and they just died to somebody using the pistol. Maybe in that bush. I think I see like pixel of them. Or no, I didn't actually. I imagined it. I thought I saw them in that bush, but maybe it's the loot. So this is better also than like repetitively peeking into the bush normally. He hits a shot. Let's see if he goes on it now. But the way oh, all right, he eventually got the kill. Earlier I talked about how just like fighting the bush mid-range is bad. The way he was just like peeking for milliseconds and shooting the pistol out there is like fine. He's pretty protected doing that, and the risk reward is pretty high. If he hits any of those shots, then it becomes a situation where he can full send it. Oh no. If he hits any of those shots, it becomes a situation where he can full send it, or you can just keep throwing them out, and then eventually one of them hit. And he didn't even actually hit the guy with the shot that killed him. He hit the ground, and then it bounced onto the guy because of the way the pistol works, and it said it in the kill feed. Weird timing with that guy on the roof, gets good damage on him. The fact that he had his rocks active, though, really helped him. If he didn't have rocks active there and had to, like, activate it while getting shot, then he probably just dies. Like, the whole thing I had been bringing up constantly of him just, like, not activating his rocks maybe could have cost him there. The 1v1, he has zone. He has no heals, but, like, this fight is really going to come down to timing. I don't like how, like, reserve T's being here. I would want to get shots on this guy. You want to have this enemy really weak before they have any opportunity to do anything to you. Alright, he hits the bank shot. Almost dies, but he gets the kill. If he missed that bank shot, he'd probably lose this there. But the fact that he's kind of scuffed. He had no more mobility aside from pocket item. He had no additional heals, but he had zone. So the enemy has to come right up to him. And so the game really just comes down to, can he punish the enemy before they get close enough to like take advantage of the fact that he has no heals and no mobility. And then it turned out that, you know, he was able to get the kill before that guy got to him. If they just spammed the overdrive nades rather than the boots, I think maybe that would have been a closer fight. But even then, it was really close as is. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.